Look at this. Twins make it 12 in a row. They take down the Brew Crew in game one of that border battle thanks to 6 shutout innings from Joe Ryan. Full deep dive coming up next on the Minnesota Twins Postcast.
This is the Twins Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Minnesota Twins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Minnesota Twins Postcast episode right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Your team every day. Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. Got my main man, Theo Tollefson. Give him a follow on X at Theodore Tollef1 Twins expert over at ZoneCoverageMN.com as well. Theo, 12-game win streak, man. 12 games. What I think I asked you this after like game 7 or 8, but what's been the number one catalyst, in your opinion, from your lens, for this team's success and just red hot run they've been on the last 3 weeks?
No, everything's clicking together at the right time. And I feel like this game had so much more coming into it of like, I don't know if they can do this because of that scary collision between Buxton and Correa yesterday. Unfortunately, I mean, it's best case scenario in some ways. I know it's not the best word of phrasing, but the fact that only one of those guys is going to be on the concussion IL. Is huge. It's still not great, and we wish Correa the best, absolutely. But to come back, and especially only winning with 3 runs, which has been a huge issue this year for them. Joe Ryan just looked sharper than he did in his last start because we know he wasn't his healthiest last time around. It's just phenomenal. So if you told either of us at the beginning of the season they would have another 12-game win streak with the same exact team, I don't think we would have believed it. And here they are. This is the 4th time in franchise history they've had a 12-game win streak or longer. The only one that they've had more than 12 games was a 15-game winning streak in that 91 season. So it's huge, man. We'll take it.
How about, before we get into all the meat and potatoes from tonight's game, how about just a quick injury update? You mentioned Correa, concussion protocol now. How about for the people who don't know, Byron Buxton, what's the latest with him? And then obviously Willie Castro just got that guy back, and all of a sudden he's super dinged up, taking that nasty foul ball right off his kneecap. A quick injury update on those two guys as well.
Yeah, so they reported post-game, I think it was Bobby who had it now, first Bobby Nightingale Jr. of the Star Tribune. Buxton was available off the bench tonight if they needed him, but fortunately they didn't. So in his case scenario, you'll take him having an extra day off just to be precautious. And again, let's take the bigger picture. It took something like this, a really bad collision, to have him on the bench. And he's going to be available in this series. We will see him at some point in this series. That's huge to take away. Castro, I would believe he's day-to-day. I haven't seen anything yet on socials posted by any of the beat writers who are out in Milwaukee.
Maybe still doing some more testing right now.
Yeah,
but
I would say he
doesn't feel dramatic.
Yeah, he's day-to-day. We're just going to go with that right now because that's our best guesstimation. We're speculating responsibly. That's what we do here at Locked On Sports. We're not going to overblow this, but it's not great.
We're no Adam Schefters here. Okay.
No, we're not in Milwaukee, so we'll leave it at that. But we will take into consideration that a journeyman minor leaguer made his major league debut with the Twins today, Ryan Fitzgerald. He was tearing the ball up in St. Paul. Saw him just like everything clicked together. I was able to.
You're at CHS, 5 times a week, so you saw this
as much as I was last year.
Either way, though, of anybody I know in my Rolodex, you're the guy I go to for anything Twins minor leaguers over at CHS for the St. Paul Saints. So you've been watching this dude rip the ball. And by the way, 30-year-old making his MLB debut tonight. Correct?
Well, the fun fact about him is his pro debut, because he was not drafted out of college. He went into indie ball. So his first game ever in indie ball was still when the Saints were an indie ball team at CHS Field. So it's kind of a full circle moment for him being in St. Paul this year and then getting around. But yeah, he was tearing the cover off the ball. He said it was just a comfortability things. This organization hasn't told him to like make these different changes with his swing pattern, and that was the case for him where he was last year. But this year, he's just tearing the ball up, and he earned it. I mean, a 328 batting average, 426 on base percentage, 528 slugging percentage, 4 home runs, 21 ribbies, and 148 plate appearances. So I think it's been like 30 or 31 games for St. Paul. I know everyone wants to see Carson McCusker, but because of what was needed, which was infield depth, this was
This was the logical choice for sure.
And you can never be upset when a guy this age who's really grinded through the minor leagues gets his flowers and finally gets to make his major league debut.
The Bull Durham story, baby. Yeah, you got to be happy.
Yeah.
You're rooting for those guys always, for sure. Good injury update there. Lots to get into. Game MVP, biggest turning point tonight. But first, quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Game Time. Game Time, download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. So let's get into tonight's game real quick. Twins on, obviously, this MLB best 11-game win streak. Not just right now, currently the best win streak. Nobody in the MLB has won 11 games like the Twins. Headed to Milwaukee for this always highly anticipated border battle. Joe Ryan, you mentioned him. He's just been fantastic this month, all things considering. 6 innings, no earned runs, 9 Ks. Twins score all 3 of their runs in the first 2 innings. And again, thanks to the pitching, they really never look back. 12 in a row. They take game 1 from the Brew Crew. 25-20 now. All of a sudden, don't blink. 5 games over 500. What was your biggest takeaways and kind of 8 topics, I guess, what stuck out the most from tonight's game specifically?
Joe Ryan's sickness, whatever he had last week, was left behind there, and he was back at it. Just, he looked a lot sharper. He was performing a lot better. I know there were times when he was trying to throw balls outside the strike zone to get them swinging, and they did, and he was scared because of how weak he was feeling, but his strength's back. He was looking sharp, and you got to take that away. And I know everything wasn't there for the offense tonight, but you got to take what you can get. Some good plate appearances there from Clemens, who's honestly just been such a surprise.
Overachieving right now, isn't he?
Well, he will say this, so it's not the luck he brings with his family lineage because of who his dad was, but how much his mom supports him and his family and his brothers who have all been trying to grind through the minor leagues. And he's one of the guys amongst his brothers who's at least been able to get to the major leagues. And, he's got more home runs than his dad ever did. So we'll take what we can get.
Yeah, we'll take what you can get. That assist he had was a game 1 or game 2 versus Baltimore yesterday in that doubleheader. That assist he had in right field
was yesterday, but that was not the doubleheader.
Oh, got it. Okay. The assist he had, though, right field, the ball bounced off the wall, man, and he just threw a BB to third base. Royce Lewis punches Baltimore Oriole out, trying to stretch a double into a triple. Just absolutely, just so fun watching some of these young guys for sure. Let's go to our game MVP here real quick.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
All right, normally I ask you MVP of the game. I think we all know. I think Joe Ryan. I think, right?
Yeah.
But
we've been talking about it so much because it's hard not to because of how he got him through those first 6 innings. But yeah.
Let me ask you this. Who's the MVP of this 12-game win streak if you had to pick one? Tough to pick one guy. Maybe you want to pick just like a group starting pitching, whatever it may be. Who has just really just thrived during these 12 games during this win streak?
I can't pick one group. I think there have been different moments in each of these games where it has been the starting rotation or, every game against Baltimore, the bullpen kept them scoreless. Like
very collective
anything.
Effort. Yeah.
And then those games against San Francisco, you had a lot more going on. I mean, yeah, Chris Paddock in that first game, but the offense really just making things work here and there. Everything to get a win streak over 10 games, everything has to be clicking together on each side of the ball. So, you're starting rotation, defense, hitting, bullpen, and that's what's been happening. So they have another chance at history here for franchise history tomorrow. Try to extend his 13 games for the second time in franchise history. So that's what we have to hope for. But I think just after everything we've seen and more of our recent memory bias of what we saw in that 12-27 collapse at the end of the last season, this didn't seem achievable. So is this another turnaround, same opportunity? What do you do to maintain yourselves to make sure that this is not the same mistakes as last year, that this core has learned from their mistakes and they can actually hold their position in a good postseason spot from mid-August until September and get in?
Yeah, no, well said there. I feel like, again, 12-game win streak's a 12-game win streak. You'll take it whenever it comes during the season. But to your point, compared to last year, can you stay afloat? Can you not burn through all your fuel here and run on empty come August and September like we saw last year? Plenty more deep dive, nerdy stat of the day. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the MLB. Right now, FanDuel's giving you a chance at a huge return. $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. And why I love FanDuel, when you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you can go check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play all on the same page where you place your bets. Again, $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. Go check it all out over at FanDuel.com. Get some MLB future action while you're there. Twins have gone from plus 300 to plus 290 to plus 280, plus 220 now to win the AL Central. It's all sitting up over at FanDuel.com. Again, check it all out over at FanDuel.com and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 bet. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the MLB. All right, 12-game win streak. You got some sort of nerdy stat of the day, crazy stat, fun analytic, Twins related right now?
No, when it comes to that, because I think I've said it so many times, but the thing I want to keep going with every Joe Ryan start is where we did this the last time he was on the mound and I was on the show, where he's at in the Twins franchise record. You know who he passed tonight? Rick Aguilera. He's now got 588 over 586. Obviously, Aguilera was a reliever his entire Twins tenure, Ryan being a starter, so it was only a matter of time. But, you know, he's at 588. That puts him 28th time all-time in the franchise history list. And, yeah, he's 12 away from 600 for his career. So
great. So great. I got a 91, 92 upper deck tops Rick Aguilera hanging out somewhere in my big shoebox full of old Twins cards for sure. Just real quick, want to go back to the injuries. Originally, when I saw that collision, I was like, Buxton took the worst of that because Correa braced
because it was his jaw. Yeah,
and it was his jaw. Right? And Correa braced for it, right? But can you just real quick, 30, 60 seconds, whatever. The impact in the season Byron Buxton is having. I saw MLB Network. I caught like a 6-minute film breakdown on Byron Buxton. His swing from 2022 to now hasn't changed that much, the swing itself, but they were throwing up some numbers, right? Some key stats and analytics. This dude truly is, when healthy, one of the best players, most impactful players in all of baseball. I think it's easy because he's been injured so much for fans to kind of forget that.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a reason why he was picked right after Carlos Correa, and now these two are teammates, and we still see those glimpses of why they were selected where they were in that 2012 MLB draft, which is probably one of the better draft classes in recent years. I mean, there was a good stretch there from probably 2009 to 2012. There was a lot of good picks, but having those two together and remembering this is why the Twins took the chance on him coming out of high school, and it's paying off. And I feel like we've had such a stigma around his limited playing opportunities, how things were in 2023 when they made it to the postseason, but he never saw a day in the outfield that year. And now everything's just come together for him, and he has a great chance to get back to the All-Star game with how things are going so far this season. And as long as he's feeling healthy for tomorrow, Sunday at the very latest, I mean, he's going to keep things rolling. And I feel like before this winning streak started, it was like, it would be a shame if we finally had that healthy Buxton season, even if it's just 120, 130.
Yeah.
And they can't make it far into the postseason or even make it in the first place. But now this 12-game winning streak is putting them on the right track to make sure one of the healthiest Bucks seasons, if not the healthiest we're ever going to see from him, really gets put into fruition.
Yeah, well said there. Don't go anywhere. Quick preview. Games 2 and 3. Milwaukee trying to keep the streak alive. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode also brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with now more than 10 million members to date. For me and my money, it's just by far the easiest. It's the most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and you watch your favorite players. So simple, too. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more players' stats, and you watch the winnings roll in. Baseball season officially here. Strikeouts, RBIs, home runs, stolen bases, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less. Add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly with any $5 wager. All right, real quick here. Game 2 and 3 this weekend. Got Pablo tomorrow, and then Zebby Matthews. Welcome back, Zebby Matthews, to the show. You've been watching him down at CHS, I'm assuming, right? Quick preview, just big picture. Give me one thing you're expecting to see or want to see or a key to these next 2 games, and then maybe a quick snapshot on how Zebby's look, what you're expecting from him.
Pablo just needs to keep shoving how he has been, and I think, tonight the offense just wasn't there, and it worked in their favor that they weren't doing – they didn't explode. Maybe tomorrow they get a few more runs out there, and that will definitely help with Pablo, because I know there's been a few games there where he's definitely had his pitch count run up before things could really go his way to get deep in the game. So maybe that's the main thing for him. And with Zebby, the home run problem was his big issue when he got called up last year. He was hitting the zone, but he didn't have quite the execution on the pitch location that he wanted to. And I think we've seen a lot better execution of where his pitches are landing in the strike zone in the minors this year, especially since he's not zooming through the system. He's just been in St. Paul. He's working with his best pitching coach since the Twins drafted him, Jonas Levin, who got promoted to the Saints this offseason after their former pitching coach, Pete Larson, left. So I think there's going to be a lot more improvement for Zebby, and we're going to see some of that. These Brewers hitters have never seen him, and I always think the Twins and Brewers have been alike to each other with just how they develop their young guys. The Brewers, I feel like, have a bit more of an upper edge with some of their pitching development, but I think the Twins, at least starter-wise, with their current core, have a little bit stronger than what the Brewers have. So, it's been a fun rivalry, and I think we're going to continue to see that. I mean, there's still a good chance the Brewers could take one of these next 2 games and end the streak, but we take it one day at a time, and 12 is really good. Let's see if they can make it 13 tomorrow.
Twins make it 12 straight. Final score tonight, 3-0, 25-20 now on the year. Huge shout out to all you guys, all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. All you guys coming in the chat with us from game to game. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go check out all of Theo's work on X. Give him a follow at Theodore Tollefson. Again, all the work he's always ripping up over at zonecoveragemn.com as well. Luke Inman on X at Luke_Spinman. Again, game 2 tomorrow. Pablo on the mound, 6:15 first pitch. We'll catch you right here. Same time, same place. But until then, signing out.